Everyone, welcome back. It is time for another wrestling review, and having the putty man here can only mean one thing. Once again, we are talking WWE. We are not talking about Deadpool. We are not talking about Wanda, and we're not talking about Goldberg.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Goldberg.
No. We're talking about WWE Crown Jewel. We decided to do only 3 videos this week. Campo and I discussed it. We were going to do Halloween Havoc, but Halloween Havoc is long gone, and I thought let's just give it a score before the show starts. Campo, you gave it a 6.5, and I gave it a 7.1. It was fine. It wasn't a bad show, but the women's tag match was pretty.
I think I need for the rest of the eternity of watching wrestling, no more ambulance matches ever. Not
Yeah.
ever, never again.
No, not another ambulance match. No, I agree.
Unless
But
it has Moose.
Unless you get pile drive by Kevin Owens. That's
Whoa.
no, yeah. No,
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
I'm
Too
sorry.
soon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Congratulations to Moose beating Mike Bailey, new TNA X Division champion. Why though? But we are not talking about Moose winning the belt. We are talking about WWE Crown Jewel from the lovely Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Let's go right into our opening match. Before we do, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. We're close to 350. Let's hit that mark before the end of the year. Also, go give these guys a follow. Those stuff will be down in the description box below. If you like comic books and movies, go on, check out Campo. Go check out Putty, like Venom, Agnetha all along. We got all that kind of stuff. So go check
I
that
do
out.
everything.
Yeah, I bet you
Except
do.
wrestling.
Um, but
Wow, too soon.
let's go right into our review. We start off opening match of the show is the New Bloodline versus Roman Reigns and the Usos.
The
In a
OG bloodline.
the
The
OTC.
OGB. What is it? What is it? The
OTC.
OG? Oh, shut
OTC.
the fuck up.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, he's it now has his OTC has a little yeet in the corner now. By the way, so just had to bring
Well, good
it
for
up.
him.
Anyway, yeah.
No yeet.
Yeet.
No
Anyways,
yeet.
I'm not gonna be a negative guy. I didn't check. So for this and the next two reviews that are coming out this week,
Mhm.
the New Japan, I maybe for the first time ever, I've had one, and I had three in a row pay-per-views where I did not know what the card was. I just blindly jumped
Yeah.
onto a pay-per-view. To the benefit or detriment, I don't know. I won't knock people who are long-term WWE fans and are super invested in this storyline. But for me, as someone who's not a huge fan of WWE, I do like it. I'm not a huge fan, and I'm not super invested in the week-to-week goings on of what they're
Mhm.
doing. But like, I don't want this storyline anymore. It needs to
It's
end.
done.
It's so bad. It's so boring. It's so stale.
The Bloodline has become NWO versus NWO Wolfpack.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I think what they should have done is you should have drug this whole thing out to have them like start to team up again, but don't have Roman. And then at Survivor Series, they need one more guy for the not Bloodline team, and they
Yeah.
get Roman to come out or something like that, right?
Well,
He came back too soon.
Yeah.
yeah, and JD, I think you're right. The thing is, I noticed I was like, this feels so familiar. Like when they like, for example, I'm kind of leaping ahead, and I apologize for it, but it's leading off with this and everything, so I'll mention it. They show up and show that they're going to go into War Games, and they got Sami Zayn. That's kind of a
Mhm.
spoiler, sorry, but so Sami Zayn's back with the team, like the old team and everything, and
So
they're
you
going
got the
against
OG literally the OG Bloodline.
yeah. And my thing is, as I see this, you said exactly. I was like, "Why does this look familiar?" And then you just said it. It's just that basically they're doing NWO versus NWO Wolfpack. It's literally bit by bit the same exact thing. The reason it's so popular now is because this is all made for this younger generation that grew up with these wrestlers. For us that been here, we're like, we've seen this before. You're literally rehashing
But
something
they've
that
been
this
doing
old
that for a
generation knows.
while, and we
Yeah.
did call it out. I think even Nick called it out on one of the
Mhm.
episodes we did that. Like, it seems like the storylines that Triple H is doing, he's just retreading popular storylines from the 90s that nobody
Yeah.
remembers,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Or like
Except
Because
for
think
uh,
about that storyline
Roman
was close to
Reigns
30 years ago.
Roman
Mhm.
Reigns teaming
Mhm.
up with Cody Rhodes is literally the Mega
The Mega
Powers.
Powers.
So I don't know, and it is what it is, because like I do think that we are doing that in other places, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll talk about it in New Japan when we get there, but they're slowly trying to bring back the peak era of Bullet Club.
Mhm.
It's kind of working, but they're doing it like in a way
In
that
a weird way.
we've already kind of seen this. And I
Yeah.
think in AEW, they're doing the same thing with John Moxley and his team, where they're like the new NWO. They're like, we're decided we're going to take over this
Yeah.
company. And, but I kind of like their angle to it.
It's a little different.
It
Yeah.
feels a lot more rough. And I kind of like it, but I'm not 100%. I'm not saying it's good.
Yeah.
WWE has been the best, most consistent storyteller of all the companies, but it's now they're just stuck in these same stories and it's getting really
Mm.
boring to me. Like I'm just
And
bored
it's
of it.
gonna, like I said earlier too, I have a feeling this is just NWO all over again because now they announced they signed Lance Anoa'i as well.
Yeah, and we still haven't seen Hikuleo.
But I will have to give the benefit of the doubt in this situation, especially when it comes to wrestling or just anything in general. We see it a lot in just any general pop culture when it comes to movies, music. They're rehashing stories because it is hard to make a new story based off our imaginative thoughts unless it's something that really happens in real life and really hits close to home. And I can see it in wrestling because you're literally in a ring outside of going outside the ring. So making story within the ring and keeping it contained in there
I
can be
love you,
kind of hard.
And I agree with you.
I,
I actually agree with you because I thought about that the other day, Putty, and I completely agree with that. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think not to say it's bad or like egregious what he's doing because like it is, but it's a little bit of a spit in the face of the long-term fans who you're retreading on something that we feel like in my head that just
Yeah.
happened and you're
yeah.
Even though
doing
it
it
was
again.
30 years ago,
It
but
But
was, I agree, but
but it was way
it's like
more
imagine if
special than
we
anything
just started
else.
remaking all the movies from the 90s. Like that's not
which they
even
did,
long ago.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
which they
but
are.
no, they're doing a lot of 80s and like
Yeah.
70s stuff, but like 90s is like still too soon. Like what if they remade Gladiator instead of making Gladiator 2? I don't know. Anyways, this match was very mid. It was just okay.
It was
Most
okay.
of it takes place in the storytelling at the end, which is like shout out to
Yeah.
Jeremy because that's his whole thing that WWE just
But
doesn't care about the matches, just what happens at the
Come on,
end.
even your grandma hates WWE.
Yeah, she does.
the other thing about this whole bloodline thing is it's the reason it's so horrible is not even just because of the storyline, but like you're looking at characters that were put into an aggressive behavior where they were powerhouses, but then look so weak now compared
It's
to what they
too
were
soon.
before.
There
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
enough time to let to let it die off. Like to me, I remember like it being a day ago when they all hated each other, and now all of a sudden they're just best friends again, and it doesn't
Yeah.
feel. And then it's
Well,
like
the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
but this no, but they're too it's too buddy buddy. The way that they're telling that story that happens at the end. So at the end of the match, there's a whole thing. Sami Zayn comes out to help them. I'm
Even
not
the
sure why
odds. Yep.
17 guys are scared of Sami Zayn. He comes in. There's a
It's the
bunch of
hair.
things. Solo moves out of the way when he goes for a hell of a kick and he kicks Roman Reigns in the face. This is the thing. They're treating us like we're stupid in this one moment because, and I really didn't like this. People were telling me, oh, they really like this. No.
Mm.
Everyone in the world watching, all the fans, the ring announcers, the referees, both Uso brothers, even Roman Reigns saw that he was trying to kick Solo and Solo moved and he hit Roman and that obviously he wasn't trying to kick Roman. So for them to at the end to have start this whole kerfuffle like oh he kicked Roman, but you saw what happened, right? Like we
Yeah.
saw that you
Well, that's why
saw.
they're all friends in this past episode of SmackDown. They're all
But that's
buddies
what I
again.
mean. Isn't that
Don't get me
doesn't
wrong.
didn't that like even give you a little tingle of bother though? I was
Oh
like I
yes, my
was
God.
so on
Oh,
board with everything happening and then why did you
so
do
all I
that?
need to do is tell you who's booking the Bloodline segments, and you're gonna say, okay, makes sense. It's Michael Hayes and Bruce Pritchard.
Okay, well that makes complete sense. It's just typical turn stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. This is the one thing that WWE does in their storytelling that I personally don't like. It's they telegraph like turns for you
Yeah.
from the very start. Like they don't
Like
let
the
you
Kevin
build up.
Owens one.
They don't let you build up any like momentum or like love for what's happening. They just
Mhm.
immediately tell you these guys are going to turn on each other, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to wait.
Like
Anyways,
I
digress.
Well, and
what
we'll talk about a turn that happened on New Japan,
Yeah,
which that came out of nowhere, and that shocked us. Like at least it shocked me. I was not expecting this turn.
no.
turn of
But
events. Next match.
Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill in a
Oh,
four-way
Solo wins.
match. Yeah, well, we knew that.
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa does win. That's right, the
Oh yeah.
bloodline. So our next match, it's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in a four-way match against Damage Katara, Metaphor, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven.
Why on earth
Our
of
Metaphor,
of all of your choices, we talked about this while watching it because we watch it in the group setting. All WWE fans.
Hmm.
I'm the only like mild outsider. Uh, why on earth, out of all of the choices of people you could have put in this match, did you pick Metaphor?
I'll admit
Why?
they did. Oh,
Oh, we
No, no,
I
I'm
don't know
still
what.
lost.
here. I'm still
Yeah.
here.
He's still here.
I will say the Metaphor did have some good spots that looked good to me, but I had no idea who they were, to be honest
Yeah,
with
but
you.
they had good spots
Because you
because the
don't watch
mat.
NXT and nobody mentioned who
Yeah,
they were.
they're also
Yeah.
like it's the lowest possible tier of choice you could have picked. Is what my point is. It's not
Yeah.
because they're the shittiest wrestlers. If you're going by popularity, there's so much other big tag teams for women that you could have put in this situation.
Yeah.
It just I don't get it. Like, why wouldn't you?
They had a tag team that they could have put in, but they just released her. They could have put in. I would have rather had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in this match,
Yeah, I would have rather had
and they released Indy.
Fire and Dawn
Yeah, that's
or
right.
like
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
I don't know, man. It just anyways, it's not the point. It's we already knew the outcome of this match going into this, and it was like what's her name? First of all,
Jade.
Damage Control, who are the best two wrestlers in this whole thing, they were a botch fest for a large chunk of the match.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
were a
yeah.
botch
That
fest
one off
because
the
of the
corner.
fact of who they are in the ring with.
That's
Okay,
true. I agree.
Yeah.
But I do think Jade
you can
Cargill is
only carry
also
a match so much when you're the two best performers and there's six shitty performers in the ring with you.
Mhm. Jade
And
Cargill was awful.
yeah, and don't
As
get me
always.
wrong, I still like Bianca Belair, but Bianca Belair's character has not progressed. Her in-ring has not progressed.
No, you're
She's been
correct.
stale.
But I think that's also why they've kind of neglected her and put her into this tag division is because first of all, the tag division's weak, so they need a big name attached to it. But I feel like they don't know what to do with her because they're starting to see that she isn't she has name value still,
She's
but like
one-dimensional.
yeah, she's become one dimensional, and I don't
Well,
like saying that because she was our wrestler of the year 2 years ago.
well, see,
She was our most improved 2 years ago too.
well, leading off of that, the same situation with Jay Cargill, like with her going off away from AEW, which y'all knew I was a fan of hers from over there. It's just she's more. I'm a physical of a person. I have a little bit of, I guess, like pizzazz or whatever you want to call it, like a way of looking
What is
at
this,
it. Like,
1932? Boy's got pizzazz.
but my point is like that's all she's got to her. Like she can show off and do a few like moves that make her look impressive as far as muscle wise. But then as
But
far
that's
as
why they're
actual
hiding
wrestling,
her in a tag team.
exactly, and that's the problem though, is that like as a fan of Jade Cargill, I'm sitting here like you are just you are
Listen,
horrible at
at the
this.
end of the
You are
day,
horrible.
it's like a sport, right? She was, for lack of a better thought process, she's like the Michael Jordan, the potential to be a Michael Jordan. So WWE didn't want to pass the chance to try her out. But then WWE signed two people that are already at Michael Jordan level and were like, well, we don't need her anymore. So
Yeah.
now she's just there. The way I feel about it is she's just playing out this contract, and WWE is probably going to cut her because
Yeah.
you could see that they were worried that AEW was going to take off. They didn't know they were going to get Julia or Stephanie Vacor.
They
Then
got
they
three of the
landed,
best women in the world right now in
yeah,
NXT.
they're just missing Tony Storm, Masha Samovich, and Jordan Grace, and they're probably getting Jordan Grace. So
That's what I'm noticing a lot of is even though I don't
Yeah,
watch
good point.
NXT,
Four,
I'm
because
seeing
you got Zaria Delta, whatever her name is, too now.
yeah, and she's
yeah,
pretty good.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to see that a lot when I see any glimpses of like a Raw or SmackDown. Is I'm seeing some of these NXT women that they'll kind of bring over, and I'm going, who are these people? But they're very impressive, and I didn't know they even exist, which is making me really realize I need to really focus on some
I mean, on
NXT
for me on
pay-per-views.
NXT, I'm going to be honest with you. The skateboarder girl is the only one that I think is
Sol
legitimate.
Ruka?
Yeah, she's the only one that I see as a legitimate stud because Cora Jade with the injury thing, she's not there.
Yeah.
Rosanna or whatever,
Roxana
Roxana
Perez.
Perez has not progressed at all. And the other one,
Thea Hale, Fallon Henley.
yeah, they're just whatever. Though Nikita Lyons is literally just a walking injury. She had three long-term injuries in less than 4 years.
Yeah.
So like I just that's not there. They do have a great lineup of women. But we're
Yeah.
digressing from the point. I just think Jade Cargill is probably they realized that this wasn't where it's at, and she's probably gonna end
Mhm.
up in TNA or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this match was not very good.
No.
It had
Nope.
a few really fun spots. It was way
Yeah.
too long. and or at least it
But
felt like it was
It
really
was. It
long.
was 10 minutes and
but
it was 9 minutes too long.
and even those spots, for example, the one with all the women out in the outside and everything that kept on being thrown and everything. Like at first it was cool, but then it was like, okay, this is becoming too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just over. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few things I will poo-poo on throughout this, but like the first match was not a bad match, but I wouldn't say it was anything special.
It was just a match to progress the
it was a
storyline.
3 out of 5.
Yeah.
And this is like a
A
2 out of
one.
5 because there was
One and a
spots
half.
there was redeeming spots.
Yeah.
There's some good wrestlers in here. I thought Chelsea Green is fantastic.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green,
Is being wasted.
this is where I learned this. So I realized when we always complain about wrestlers going to this company or this company and they're not getting the time of day, Chelsea Green functions as a character and as someone who's like
Fodder.
like Mick Foley. Their job is to take the gnarliest spot, and that's what they get remembered for being that person. She doesn't
Yeah.
care that she's not winning belts, and like you understand the like psychology behind wrestling.
Yeah.
She knows she's not there to be a superstar. She's there to be remembered for the girl who jumped off 3 ladders through a stack of
Yeah.
tables. Do you know what I mean? And in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
match, she takes some huge spots.
Bumps. Yeah.
And I just want to say one last thing. I think it's wildly inconsiderate that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair wear those outfits with the giant spiked jewels on them. I get it if you're on the indie scene and you're trying to look cool and like your matches are one-offs, but when you work with people every day and you're wearing these outfits that
You can
legitimately
injure
hurts
somebody.
people,
Yeah.
like when you land on them, it hurts them like it actually
It would
does.
be like
Okay.
the Legion of Doom wearing their spike pads in the
Yeah,
middle.
well, even though
Yeah.
that those were like foam, but still, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, right? I just at the end of the match, I was like, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you know what? I never thought of that." I'm like, "Yeah, look how
Yeah.
big those friggin' beads are." Anyways,
Yeah.
digressed.
But Bianca and Jade retain. Where's Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler?
I know. I haven't seen them in a
That's
long
gonna
time
be they're
either.
gonna be the ones that come back and win, I think.
Okay. Bianca and Jade win. Like you said, we knew that was happening. So next we get random match. Seth freaking Rollins against Bronson Reed. The reason why this match was on the card was because the guys wanted Seth Rollins on the card.
And it was fine. We've seen maybe the best Jonah that we've seen
Mm-hmm.
since he got to WWE, barring like maybe his performance in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, his Elimination Chamber performance was
But
really good.
it's at the end of the day, I was like, it wasn't good enough to sway me, and I didn't care. Like, why is this match?
Yeah.
Well, see, JD said it, and I think what it is they're doing the whole Crown Jewel thing, which we'll get into it when we get to the matches with the actual championship matches. And of course, there's a lead into it because I'm going to talk about that after we get to the end because I thought they were going to have the belts, but that changed. Apparently, they don't. And if you know the
No, that's
story,
never been the case. But yeah, we'll get to it when
yeah,
we get
I
to
thought
it.
so.
But yeah.
But the point is because I'm starting to realize is it Saudi Arabia that's
Yeah.
a shot at? Yeah. Because they're now more involved with it and that whole entertainment thing they have, the other thing that's there year round now. I think what it is they're like, we want these superstars to wrestle, so they quickly have to put stories together. Because remember the Braun that whole story with the two big guys was going on, and all of a sudden that gets erased, and we're going straight to Seth Rollins. I'm like, how did we go from two big guys
Yeah.
literally destroying a ring to going straight for him going for Seth Rollins? I'm like, I know he's trying to do it so he can because he wants to take down and become famous. You know what I mean? Like I even says, I'm gonna make you famous. But there's no interest in it, and I know what it is. It's someone online said it. They said because the people in Saudi Arabia wanted to have Seth Rollins there for Crown Jewels, so they had to set up a storyline to get him into the show. That's all I can say.
And if you like pina
Pina
colada
coladas.
and
And
getting
getting caught in
Caught
the
in the
rain.
rain. Yeah, no, this the only issue I had with this too is if you could have really done something with Bronson Reed here and have him win and utterly destroy Seth.
you could have just set him up to go somewhere, and instead you didn't.
Yeah.
Now I will say though, I did like that they set up the curb stomp from the top of the rope. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was has he done that before? I think he has before, like one time.
I also take issue with this match this match was 14 minutes and 17 seconds. And for 14 minutes of this match, Seth Rollins got in no offense. None whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hits two stomps and that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
That's cool. One of the big issues I have in this match.
And this is the thing. In any other company, this showcase of what Bronson Reed can do, I think bears relevance. I think having Orange Cassidy face Ricky Starks and having Ricky Starks do really well all match.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to make an example, but then having Orange Cassidy win shows you how good he is. But in WWE, that's not how it works. If
No.
they don't win, nobody remembers. You literally don't count. Nobody's going to
Yeah,
remember this performance.
No, I agree. I
exactly.
agree. Yeah.
So Seth wins. So with that, we're going into our first of two matches for the WWE Crown Jewel Championship. This one is for the women's. We have Liv Morgan, who's the WWE Women's World Champion, against Nia Jax, who's the WWE Women's Champion.
It
That
was
makes
a
sense.
sloppy and boring match.
This was horrible. This just
Hmm.
proves my point that Liv Morgan is not that good unless
Hey,
she's in the
you
ring
watch
with
it.
someone who will make her look good.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's
I agree with JD.
obvious.
Okay,
But
because
mind you, she's fine in comparison to what she
Nia
was
Jax.
wrestling today.
Okay.
But this is my problem with this match that's even bigger beyond this. The stupid Tiffy storyline is driving me
Yeah.
nuts.
I
Listen to me,
agree.
this match is for the Crown Jewel belt,
Hmm.
okay? Which is just like a little tip of the hat to somebody like King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring,
Yeah.
okay?
So basically, the way it works is you become the women's crown jewel champion, but it's a one-time thing. You get a ring, like a Super Bowl
And you
ring.
get a
Yep.
Wikipedia thing.
Yeah. Entry.
Anyways, this is what you could have did. You guys are besties, right? Okay. I come in, I cash. I pin Liv. I win the belt. Then you pin Liv and you win the crown jewel. What, you weren't fighting her for the belt anyway, so what are you upset
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Exactly.
You could have
Yep.
easily double teamed her and made that happen because
Or
if
help Nia beat Liv and then have her utterly destroyed and pin Liv for the belt.
no
And see,
kidding. That's why
and now
it's like
But
the
then again, all the
storytelling here made no sense.
and I'm tired of all these outside shenanigans with Raquel and with Dom, and like I'm tired of this shit.
But see that, but this would have been a great thing. Now that you guys are saying that, I never even thought about that because that's great. Because if you think of it this way, we were just literally talking about how there's no storylines that are genuinely new. With them doing this crown jewel thing with this belt that everyone gets every year, but it stays there. The great thing about it now is if you did something like that, that means they did exactly what Liv Morgan and the rest of his her, I forgot the name of him now. We've known him
Judgment
for
Day?
years.
Damage
Judgment
control?
Day. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
Judgment Day.
exactly. But
Judgment
this
Day.
would have been a great twist of Judgment Day them getting revenge on Judgment Day, and to be something where someone gets Tiffy gets her belt, she would become the Crown Jewel belt champion, not
Mhm.
her, but what's her name? And it would have been a
Nia.
storyline that we've never had before. That people were like, whoa, this would be shocking, and they lost their opportunity.
Yes, which
And I,
and in my opinion, in the last like 3 weeks, every other wrestling company has done a whoa shocking thing. The Masha Slamovich thing,
Hmm.
the Young Bucks dropping the tag belts, and then what we're gonna talk about on New Japan, I won't spoil it.
Hmm.
Even the turns there, even the turns on AEW, and then yet WWE is just the same streamlined exact storyline.
Mhm.
They were so worried about, but if you did that, that would have threw everyone off. Holy crap! You're
Yeah.
letting
Yeah,
first of all, you're letting what's her name win so much.
Nia.
Nia Jax
Nia.
wins so much. No one would have expected that. And
Mhm.
Tiffy would have finally got her belt, and it would have left Liv Morgan in the dumpster. And after all the bragging she's been doing, like through the character,
Yeah.
it would have made it look like, oh crap, she's not all that.
and here's
And
the
then
other
Tom
thing.
turns on her and gets with Raquel.
And it's funny too, because when you're trying to go off of K-Fed or anything like that, but Nia Jax, I've always seen her in interviews.
Kevin
and she's-
Federline, is that what you just said? K-Fed?
K-Fed.
I did, but anyway, anyway, I know I messed that up. Anyway, but the point is, but the Nia Jax thing, what made it great was when I see the storyline, even after she won the belt and the next person that won the crown jewel, when you see them in interviews, it feels more serious with the person that won the last match than it does with her because it feels so fake. Like there's no genuine to because like you won with everyone else helping you. You didn't win by you know what I mean, by your own accord. But if Nia
Yeah.
Jax would have won, it would have felt way more natural when it comes to interviews and everything else. Like even the storyline afterwards would have felt so genuine. But this now feels so artificial for her, such a small character. Like I don't have any wrong with her, but this is a big event, and for her to be out there as like a big champion now, it feels so
See,
fake.
and that's the thing too. I'm not. We all know we're not the biggest Nia Jax fans here, but I think her think of the stories you could have told with her, like walking around with the big ring, like kiss the ring, kiss. She could do the
Yes,
whole kiss the ring thing and
exactly.
act like I'm the queen of the ring, I'm the royalty.
Yeah, and
Like
then and you could
it
have
would have
Tiff
played
with
so much more into her story.
And then Tiff would have had the other belt. She would have been carrying the case going like, I'm also this champion and I have the
Yeah, and you know what else you could have did? You could have maybe three-way storylined here, and
Hmm.
somehow you get Tamina to come back. No one says anything, but let's say Lance Anoa'i and Hikuleo are with her, and she's claiming head of the table now, and it's those four are a third bloodline, and
Mm.
now you have
hey,
a whole nother storyline because she has the ring. She's
The
I'm
leader of the.
the leader of the bloodline.
I'm breaking the fourth wall. Hunter Helmsley, if you're listening to us and we see something like this happen, we know you watch this podcast and you better promote this because you better give JD some clout right
Yeah,
now
just like
because I
when
guarantee
Scott
you it's a
Demore
great
stole all my
story.
ideas.
Hey, you shouldn't have told them. Should have been
I'm
standing
just
there.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just saying that right now what we're talking about with Nia Jax and everything is such a great storyline that it would be better than any other storyline we're
Yeah,
seeing
that
right
it
now in
would
the
have worked more
WWE.
towards her storyline. Absolutely. But Liv Morgan does win. Again, the wrong kid dies. So with that, we'll go into probably what was my favorite match of the night. LA Knight defending the United States Championship against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes.
So
Yeah.
the problem you have with this match is that Andrade and Melo Hayes exist only to do things
Hmm.
until it was time for LA Knight to
To
win.
win. But this was still a good
Exactly.
match. Let's
It
give
was a
credit
good
where
match. It was the match of the night.
let's
I
give
will
credit
agree.
where credit is due.
But I want to just point this out, and I don't know if we even talked about this. Everybody that I talked to that I personally know, and like a couple few smattering of people on the onlines, were like the AEW match with Ricochet, Takeshita, and Will Ospreay. There was
Hmm.
too many
Flippy
flippy do
dippies.
things. There was too many counter moves. There was too much no selling. This match is literally
Hmm.
in the easiest form a carbon. They saw them do that match and we're like,
And
we're
said,
gonna
let's
do
do
that
it.
match too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because that's literally what this is. And then,
Yeah.
but they're all praising this, but talking shit about the AEW match. And I'm not saying either because I think this is a really good match.
Yeah.
But like to
It's funny you
point
say
at
that
one
because
match and be like, that sucks because of this, but then praise this that does the. It's almost a carbon copy of a
Yeah.
match.
It
yeah,
was.
I
Where
don't know
LA
which
Knight
ones you're
was the
referencing.
Takeshita
You can watch it
character.
one day, Putty. You'll
Yeah.
figure it
Okay.
out.
But that's my point though. With me not knowing it myself or anything, I really did enjoy this match. But at the same time, I'm sitting there like, am I enjoying this match just because I'm a big LA Knight fan, or am I enjoying this
It
match
was
because
a
it's
good
actually a good
match.
match?
It was a really good
Yeah.
match. You
Okay.
know, this
Because
was
that
the
was what I was
best we've
afraid
seen
of.
on this is the best we've seen Andrade since returning.
The best we've
Mello,
seen
we've
LA
always
Knight.
been high. We've always been high
Andrade
on
was good
Mello.
in the Money in the Bank.
Okay, yes. But in
I
terms
feel
of
like
an
it's the best we
actual
got in LA Knight
match
though.
match, that
This is
wasn't
like the only match I've seen
Andrade.
Mello wrestle. Was he in Money in the
Yeah.
Bank too?
No. Was he? I can't remember
I don't
now.
remember.
And you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
But I mean, but yeah, it was fine. I was actually looking forward to this match. I mean, that's it. I mean, what do you want to say? LA Knight won the match.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Now, before
Yeah.
we get to the main event, I can't remember if this happened before this match or after this match. We get the whole KO Randy Orton. It was supposed to be a match, and it never
Never had a
happened.
match.
So was this before or after? I think it was before, right?
No, I think it was after.
Okay. Well, point is, we were
Yeah.
supposed to get KO versus Randy Orton, and they just beat each other up, and our
Yeah.
we get Adam Pierce RKO'd.
I liked the idea of what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how well I would say it was executed.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
the selling wasn't that good because it feels like this felt like something back in like this felt like a regular kind of like in your face match you would do on Raw, and then you would save, of course, the one with like Mankind and Undertaker at WrestleMania, like their matches where they're insane. This felt like it was trying to be that, but it could never be that. And then it ended up being like one of the tamer versions of Chaos that you see on Raw back in the 90s. Does that make sense? Like the late 90s? Because
Yeah.
like
And not
because
Chaos,
remember
the New Japan faction.
No.
yeah, but so like when I saw this, I was like, I could see people like going, "Oh my God, that's insane!" And I'm like, do you all watch WWE?
No,
I'm
but
pretty
this is
sure
my
everyone
thing,
knows the cage match.
I just have to say this. And this is not a I don't mean this in the most negative way, but I do. I don't feel like anybody who was there, at least like majority of them, watch wrestling. Like
Yeah.
there's a big event in town and
Let's go.
they're all just going to watch it. And you could tell it was like a lot of rich people that like the
Mm-hmm.
tickets are probably expensive, so their dad just got them tickets to the hottest show in town. Because
Did you see the guy in the front row who looked like Borat?
yeah, but
Yeah,
you got the vibe from a lot of the way the crowd functioned that they don't watch wrestling.
yeah.
They're
Or
there
like the real
because it's a
fan,
big event.
Yeah.
you could tell the actual fans were the ones that were like in the nosebleed
Yeah,
seats or
you
like way in the back.
literally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they were the ones that wanted to be there, but
Well,
they
it's like
couldn't
it
afford the tickets.
take. We're going to use the Maple Leafs again. Look at the first two sections of the at a Maple Leafs game. It's all suits and nobody has any emotion. But you go up to the upper bowl, and that's where all the fans are.
Yep.
Right, and they're also so expensive. Nobody's buying any tickets at the bottom.
Yeah.
The top worst tickets in the building on against a shit team on a weekday is like $130. So
Oh, they gone
Yeah,
down a
I
bit.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that when before this Crown Jewel started, they were all like, "So make to make this look good, make sure you pull all your phones and look like you're actually going
I
and getting
don't like this
video."
venue. I don't like this venue at
Yeah.
all. And there's too many floor seats. I would be really frustrated if I was a fan who paid and I was on the floor because you have to look over like 70 rows
Isn't
of
this
people.
is this a cricket? Isn't this a cricket
It
arena or
might
so?
be. I think so because it's really
So
rectangular.
Yeah.
this goes back to what I was saying before. You can tell what Saudi Arabia in general is doing is they're funding this stuff. They're probably giving money to them to come over
Oh yeah,
there.
they have a 10-year
Uh,
contract with WWE.
Exactly. And the thing is they have the whole WWE experience. They're trying to get people to tour there and come out there because they're
It's
like,
to
there's
promote
too many.
tourism, of course.
Yeah,
That they say
exactly.
that right at the.
Right. But the problem with that is you're not getting anyone to sit in those seats except for the rich people. So if there's you're not giving the vibe is not there like a real wrestling event. So I don't
Yeah,
see
it's
you
not like the
actually.
Europe events. I
Yeah, yeah,
agree.
No.
yeah. It's just weird. It's and people at home can see it, or at least for the true wrestling fans can see it. You know what I mean? You could see that just feels this feels like back in COVID. Where people were like, "Oh, I could just get a seat and get on TV and get on the screen in the background of a wrestling event." You know
Like
what I
the
mean? Remember
Thunderdome
those? Yeah, like it feels like those moments, and it's like it just
or
doesn't
the what
feel
was it the
genuine
Wrestle?
enough.
That's right, the WrestleMania. Remember the WrestleMania after COVID? Was it in Philadelphia where they put standees in the seats to
Yeah.
make it look like it was full?
Is that the one
Hmm.
where it rained and Samoa Joe had to wear a
A
poncho?
raincoat? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anywho,
Yes.
what's the next match?
So it's our main event of the night. Cody Rhodes against Gunther for the WWE Crown Jewel Championship. This was also a good match.
Their styles do not work together.
They
No,
don't.
but I still
I
enjoyed
found
it.
I don't think this match was bad, but I found it extremely boring and like poorly paced. I'm really getting tired of Cody Rhodes in the ring.
Hmm.
At least he didn't tell the same storyline that we get every time, where it's like, oh, his ribs are hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't. They they don't have styles that mesh together. They
No.
really don't.
See, here's the
And
thing.
oh, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say you said exactly the same thing I've been thinking with Cody Rhodes. I liked the whole Cody Rhodes storyline, like telling his story, and it worked for the Roman Reigns and even setting up things. But now it's at that point now where it's like, okay, now you feel like a carbon copy wrestler that you play in a video game. You
Copy and
don't
paste. It's a
feel,
creative
yeah,
wrestler that uses the same. Yeah.
exactly. And I'm not any more enjoyed. And now, even now to this day, what Campo says when he does his finisher, I'm like, all he's doing is just flipping him over the bed and letting him get asleep on his stomach. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel genuinely like it hurts, but the
No.
way they try to sell it is like, oh, it must be painful. I'm like, no, it looks like he just basically gave him a hug and threw him on his back and said, no, you shouldn't be sleeping on, you know, like,
It's like when you're wrestling with your younger brother and you're trying to make up moves, and here
Literally.
it's
exactly.
yeah.
But that's my point is
And then
Gunther.
then Marco gives his rock bottom to Fab, and he puts him through the bed, and they call me because they don't want my dad to find out.
Yeah, it's not the same move, but the switchblade is the better version of the
But even the
crossover.
Sister Abigail was the better version of that
That's
move.
true.
But here's the other funny part too. The whole Gunther versus him could have been such a great storyline. The whole Rocky versus what's it? I can't remember what the character's name
Ivan
was in
Drago.
yeah, Ivan Drago. That storyline is great. It really does feel good to
Two
have
worlds
that.
collide, rival
And you
nations.
exactly. And they even mention it in this match at the beginning. Remember, they even say it's oh my god, it's just like but they said Apollo Creed versus Ivan, and I'm like, but here's the thing: Gunther
If
has
it's
a great
Apollo Creed
character arc.
versus Ivan, Apollo died.
I know. That's why I don't know why they said that. They actually say that. Like, go back and watch the match. I think Cole says it. I can't remember. Anyway, but the point of the whole thing is Gunther's storyline. I like. I'm getting so bored of Cody Rhodes. Like, I actually want Cody to go bad and turn, and I don't feel like they're going to do it because he's too much of their baby boy.
They have their wagon hitched up to
Uh,
Cody, and that's it. They're riding him, and that's why Cody wins this match.
It shouldn't have been. It should have been Gunther.
It
I
Cody
should have
agree.
been
doesn't
I
good.
need
agree.
anything
It would have
else.
told a better story. Like this is the first time Cody's been pinned since before WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and it would have told a
And
much
it could
better
have been, it
story.
would have been the starting point of a feud that we wouldn't see often because they don't cross over really. So you would have it be that at some point they would meet again and be like, "Do you remember the time when they met before?" And it will like have this beef leading to a third match eventually. But what
Yeah,
you've done now is you just made it so who cares about Gunther?
yeah.
Well, and that leads into the other thing that I want to bring now. They did the closing ceremonies they always do, like the press stuff at the end of the show, and they actually show the ring ceremony where they give the ring both to Liv and Cody. And here's
Cody.
the thing, yeah, and here's the thing. Okay, I'll believe the Cody thing. I'll say they're pushing that. It would have been much funner for Gunther. But same thing with the opposite for Liv. For Liv, it's just the problem with her is she's so small that it doesn't make her look like a superhero. It just looks like she's trying to be like the underdog, like Rey Mysterio, and it doesn't work for me. At the same time, when she's sitting there shaking the hands of Cody Rhodes, I'm like, Cody Rhodes, you're literally shaking the hands of somebody that cheated to win her match, and you're acting like she's like a good wrestler. Like it felt so artificial and bad. Like let's put it this way: if they actually had Rhea Ripley win this, and she was over there with Cody Rhodes with getting the ring, it would have felt way more unbelievable. She worked her butt off to get here,
Well,
and she deserved it.
you had a face versus a quasi face in the men's match and two heels in the women's match.
And that's why it probably didn't work.
It just felt so natural. And now Liv Morgan now has a ring that I just don't feel like she deserves. And like it'd be funny if she
Liv has been rewarded too much in a small period of time. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel earned anymore. It feels like
Yeah,
they're just piling on because
because they got
now where do
nobody
you
else.
go from here with her? And it's kind of like you're gonna have the Alexa Bliss moment, which she can't say it, but you're gonna have the Alexa Bliss moment
Oh,
now.
she's muted, so it's okay.
Okay. You're gonna have the moment where everyone started to realize once she lost the belts that like who cares about Alexa Bliss?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's why I feel like Liv is just the pretty girl kind of situation. Like, all the little girls love her, all the
But
guys want her.
listen, she only has this mega spotlight on her because the
they
little
have.
pretty cute girl is out, which is Alexa Bliss. So she
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
literally took her spot.
but
it's
we'll see.
disappointing. I don't
But
know.
all right, all in all, Putty, what would you rate this show?
See, that's hard. I don't even know what I rated my other stuff. So when I was sitting here thinking I was gonna ask you guys and I get a chance to what I rated
Okay,
before.
I can go first.
Go ahead.
A 6.
Okay.
I'm
So
not being nice anymore. I'm giving scores. That I don't I literally this is on the borderline of like worth checking out and I still wouldn't recommend it.
So okay, then I'll jump in and say this. I loved the LA Night match that made me love this show,
That's
but
why it
it's the
got a
only
6 for me.
Yeah,
that's why I was gonna say so I'm down with you. I'm just because I want LA Knight. I'm so happy that LA Knight won and kept his belt. I'll say 6.5.
I gave it a 6.4. So we're all in the same. WWE has had some stinkers lately.
And this whole, like I said, and the things they need to change is the whole Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns thing needs to be dropped. We need new spotlight characters. Heck, you know what? I'm gonna say it right now, and I know you guys don't like this. Give LA Knight belts. Let LA
Give him the
Knight be the
belt. I
bigger
don't
belt.
care. This is what they
I would
need to
rather him
do.
be at the top of it
This is
all.
what needs to happen for me. Okay. For me as a human person. Stop making every pay-per-view the same matches. Like create a new feud. I don't need to watch the same people fight the same people every pay-per-view for 3 years.
Give me some variety. Yeah.
Yeah, and
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 it's
again,
like,
now,
okay, but like, let's just say this. I'm just making an example. You had like we watched 27 matches of Matt Riddle versus
Seth
Seth
Rollins.
Rollins, and then we watched 27 matches of CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. And then what did you do? You just put CM Punk against Matt Riddle and then Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre. So it's still the same 4 people, just in a different combination. And
Yeah.
that's what they keep doing. And it's like, I'm tired of it. Why can't
Yeah.
Mello have a match where it's him for a title? Or why can't we get Dragunov or someone for a title? I mean, he might be injured. I'm just making
Yeah.
examples, right? Why isn't
yeah,
Braun? Where was Braun Breaker?
yeah.
Yeah. Where was
Yeah,
your
for an
Intercontinental
example,
Champion?
yeah. That was the other thing too. We literally have Braun Breaker that had the whole thing with Jay
But they
Uso.
took the belt off
The,
of Jey Uso just to put him back in this bloodline story. He
it's
had
it,
he had the main event.
and he had a good storyline going with him. Like, why is it that they literally want to make him the main event? They want to call him the main event Jey Uso, and then what do? Oh, we're going to put him back on the OT. Okay, I hate to say this. Fans that are younger fans now, this whole bloodline thing is stupid. It's trying to be NWO. It's never gonna be
It'll never be
NWO.
NWO.
NWO was always like NWO for life. Nothing will ever be like NWO. Sorry, I'm putting it out there. If you want to enjoy NWO, go watch NWO because we were there, we enjoyed it, and you're just trying to rehash it. But guess what? The problem is you can't throw stuff in the ring, you can't go blood and gore, you can't go ultra violent because you guys are too tame and too chicken to do it.
And you
If
can't
you're
do the
gonna
finger
do it
poke of
right,
doom anymore.
exactly. Oh, I love the pick and poke pin, but still, my point is, am I right or wrong in saying this?
Can
Because
you
like,
can you can you just imagine that Solo becomes champion and Roman Reigns gives Solo the finger poke of doom?
but the point is like I those matches were so great, and like I remember back in the day of WCW where fans would get crazy and start throwing stuff in the ring. I understand why they can't do it now because they throw it for an object, someone gets hurt. But it had more like you felt like a part of those shows back then. Now it's like they're so scared to hurt or injure anyone, but they're trying to rekindle the storyline. Like you never understood
But
why
that's the
NWO was
thing,
so
right?
good.
And this is always my argument of wrestling, especially when I talk to only WWE watchers. There's WWE, when you watch the outside world of wrestling, doesn't have any sort of feeling of realism at all. It feels completely fabricated. It feels like the Disney children's movie version of what wrestling is. It's like if you took hockey and you were like, you can't hit each other anymore. You
Right.
know, it's like football if it was flag football.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel the same. And you get that vibe because everything is so telegraphed, everything feels so choreographed. There's like just this absent feeling of dread. I don't feel
Yeah.
worried for anybody. Where I'm watching New Japan and I'm like, oh, look how this guy's gonna jump off 10 ladders.
Oh, and the
Like,
problem is
what's
now
gonna happen?
Yeah.
this goes back to the same situation where Triple H came up to talk to Randy Orton, and this is before the show, and he challenged the Crown Jewel, and he's sitting there like, Randy, I'm not doing this to protect him. I'm doing this to protect you. And I'm like, bullshit. You're just trying to make drama. You're making this look like it's scary.
Why
Like
don't you
Kevin
just
Owens was about
stop
to.
putting Randy Orton in the main event? Because he's like 70 years old
Well,
in
Yeah.
dog years.
the funny part, I don't know if you saw, okay, but I think you saw JD, the thing we were talking about earlier that happened with happens on SmackDown.
Mhm.
Well, basically, he does an illegal move and apologizes, and you can even tell the way that the Randy Orton's holding his hands on
He
Kevin's
did the
upper
package
legs.
pile driver, yeah.
Yeah, he did the one that makes it a lot easier to actually hurt him. But they make it such a big deal. Like when Randy Orton falls, I'm like, you're not even making it look realistic, like your neck is injured. You know what I mean? You're not even selling it.
Randy Orton
And
was never able to sell very well.
well, here's my point to the whole thing. They're trying to push this whole like backyard wrestling type of thing, like we're back in the Insane Clown Posse. But no, you're just Bozo the Clown with Cookie, and you're never going to be Insane Clown Posse backyard wrestling. And you're trying so hard to push that. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up backyard wrestling old video game and the
Look
backyard
look
wrestling
up
movie.
anything Juggalo Championship
Yeah, yeah,
Wrestling.
exactly. But at least then they
Don't
still
look
pushed
up
the envelope.
Juggalo Championship.
Well, I mean,
JCP,
but at least they pushed it. You know what I mean? At least
JCW.
back then they were
JCW.
pushing
No,
it.
JCP
I
was
mean,
actually good.
but yeah, my the thing
Yeah.
is I hate it. I hate it, and I'm always watching to hope something better happens, and then I end up coming to these reviews of you guys, and I'm like, nope, it just became more shittier than the
Well,
last
Putty, you're gonna
time.
be happy because Goldberg's coming back.
And see, then okay, I get he let me mention yes, they announced Goldberg is going to his retirement wrestling. At least I get one good thing, even though it's not going to probably be good. He's probably going to suck in the ring, and he's going after I already forgot his name.
Gunter.
Gunter. He's going after Gunter because Gunter called him out. Which you know what? Hey, Gunter, if you give me a good show and make my boy look good, I'd be very happy. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, here we go.
So we'll end it there. With that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Tune in later this week. Campo and I will have 2 New Japan reviews for you. No? Okay. If he's there, he's there. If not, who cares? So thanks again for joining us. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. And in the words of Kenny Omega, goodbye and good night.